Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You're watching, if you've just joined in or tuned in, the Today Show live on Islam Channel on Sky 736. Also streaming live on our website, islamchannel.co.uk, and of course via our official web app. In the beginning, in the first segment, alhamdulillah, we had guests that spoke about we spoke about fostering. If you want to find out more, then please do visit the London Borough of Tower Hamlets website and find out more about the information regarding being a foster carer or about fostering. Now, in this segment, joining us now are the team behind an award-winning youth club that runs weekly Saturday sessions for boys aged 10 to 16. Their focus is on planting the seeds of Iman early and helping young people build a strong connection with the masjid. After winning Youth Space of the Year, they're here to share their journey, raise awareness of their work, and inspire others to get involved in youth work. Please welcome Mirtazur Quraishi, Treasurer, DCO Youth Club, Brother Taiyeb, Administrator of DCO Youth Club, and Brother Haseeb, Volunteer, DCO Youth Club. First and foremost, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Now, I'll start with you, Mirtazur Quraishi, as you are the treasurer of the DCO Youth Club. Many of my viewers might be wondering, what is DCO? What is it?
DCO Masjid is essentially a mosque, and within that mosque we have a youth club. So DCO Youth Club is essentially the youth club attached to the DCO Masjid.
Okay.
And yeah.
Now, before I move on to the other respected guests, let's find out from you, mashallah, you're young, alhamdulillah, and you are already part of Masjid and part of the youth club. And it's an inspiration for others, especially our viewers that are watching the program, alhamdulillah. People might be, especially parents, want their children to also be part of the masajid or the youth club. Now, can you tell us briefly about the youth club that you are involved in and what work does it do and who is it for specifically? Of course, the name or the title youth club is a given.
Okay, so essentially what our youth club is we offer weekly sessions on Saturdays, and we have 2 different sessions every month, and we also have another session for 16 plus as well. So we offer 2 sessions, the first one being football, where we hire a pitch for the kids to play football against one another, and then we have indoor sessions as well, which is within the masjid, and we offer a variety of different activities like pool, for example, table tennis, PlayStation, carom board, air hockey, and so many more as well.
So in other words, keeping the youth, the future generation, of course you're young as well, alhamdulillah, all 3 of you, but more importantly, keeping them busy physically rather than always busy indoors, consoles, PlayStation, etc. It's basically instilling in them the importance and the significance of, physical activities, sports, etc.
That's true.
Now, I'll come to Taiyeb, mashallah. Your name is also Taiyeb.
Yeah.
You're the administrator of this DCO Youth Club. Now, why is it important to start building Iman and confidence at a young age from the get-go? Why is that so important?
I would say it's very important to have children surrounded in a positive environment from a young age, because depending on who they're surrounded by at a young age, it shapes their future. For example, if you're surrounded by, let's say, smart people at school, let's say, and you have very good friends at school, you're most likely to be, like them. Say, for example, if you're around in a bad environment, let's say you're like a street gang environment, you're going to eventually pick up their bad habits, and you're going to obviously go down that road because everyone is surrounded by that. So that's why we aim our youth club specifically. Our main priority is teenage boys at the age from 10 to 16, because we want to give them that solid foundation that these people in the youth need, so that when they grow up in the future, they have like a community to look back on. For example, when they grow up in the future, they have the boys that they connect with youth clubs, so they have that positive connection around them. A lot of people out there, they did not really have that sense of community and that sense of positive, like community in the way where once they leave school or once they finish university, whatever, they don't really have that kind of foundation with people that are in Islam, engage with positive things, engage with helping the youth as well. So that's why it's good to keep people connected with each other, raise them up in a positive environment, so that they can further develop on that, and in the future they can hopefully aspire become role models to the future Muslim community.
Indeed, what you have mentioned there, the positive role model or being a positive role model, contributing towards the community welfare and excelling your own self. This reminds me of my late father, rahimahullah, that a person is known by the company he keeps. And absolutely, you've nailed on it, that if you have a good environment, the chances are, generally, inshallah, that you are going to be like them. And of course, you will be role models to the future younger generation. So absolutely, it's an important point. Now, Haseeb, you are the volunteer. I'm assuming you're the youngest here, alhamdulillah. And you are volunteer of this youth club, DCO Youth Club. Now, can you please tell me what happens during the Saturday sessions at the masjid? And if you can clarify, does it only happen inside the masjid? Or we've heard some activities, but also do you have a role outside the masjid too?
So every week we rotate between having like indoor sessions, which include pool, table tennis, and badminton, with football as well, which we do at the local AstroTurf pitch, and we rotate between them. We also provide a nasiha, which is an Islamic reminder, so they could be informed and learn new stuff while being in the youth club as well. And we also provide them with refreshments as well, which include like food and drink and stuff like that. An example is last week where we had an indoor youth club, which we had FIFA and stuff like that there. But also, at the end of the session, we had a guest speaker. And we also invited another youth club, which is like a bus, which is not too far from us, to our youth club, so they could join in with the talk as well.
Okay, so along with sports and other activities, it's important, you mentioned about nasiha. So basically, it's making Islam fun for the younger generation so that they can not only be inspired, but at the same time, while they're doing the activities that they're doing, they're also at the same time learning about Islam in a fun, packed environment. Is that my understanding? MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair for that. Now, Brother Mirtazur Quraishi, now let's move on back to you. You recently won Youth Space of the Year. Now, what did that recognition mean for not only the team, but also for the young boys that are part of this youth club? And most importantly, brother like Haseeb, who are volunteers as well. So what impact did it have?
Subhanallah. It was actually quite funny as well, because I took a video, because there were quite a few boys from the youth club who actually came to the event as well. And I took a video of all of them and I asked them, do you think we're going to win the award? And all of them said no. And I went up on the stage and then they were explaining the other youth clubs, and they were saying how some of these guys, they went on residentials, they have like 5-a-side AstroTurf pitches on top of their roofs, they had all of these facilities. But then they chose us, and then I was quite surprised myself, if I'm being honest. I went on the stage and I was like, we actually won. And then I spoke to them afterwards and I asked them, like, why is it that we won out of all of these like amazing youth clubs? There was like, I think quite a few as well. I'm not sure how many there were, but I think there were more than 20 or 30. And he told us it's because of the consistency. And there's something powerful that someone said in our youth club, and he said that Allah doesn't like big actions, He likes small actions that are consistent. And alhamdulillah, the difference, like what separates our youth club from other youth clubs is our consistency. It's something that's always been there. And we've faced challenges as well, and I think even something that affected everyone was coronavirus, where everyone is in lockdown. And we weren't able to provide like our youth services the same way that we were able to when there was a lockdown. So we had to think in 2020, and keep in mind we're only 12 days away from our 10-year anniversary, and every week it's been happening. So during lockdown, we still wanted these young people to have a space. So what we did is we did online Zoom sessions, and we did different games, like we did Among Us, we did like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We did all these different activities to keep the youth engaged, and we'd still have a nasiha at the end of it. So it was a good recognition. Alhamdulillah, it puts our youth club on the map now, and our reward isn't tangible at the end of the day. We can't see our reward is with Allah. But it is nice sometimes to have some sort of like visual representation or recognition of our work. So alhamdulillah.
Very powerful there, that sometimes we do something, we think that we need some sort of recognition and reward in this world, which is fair enough. But what you have touched on, the priority should be, our reward is first and foremost with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very well put there. Now, Taiyeb, let's move on to you. And I'd like to find out for you, why is it important, according to you, especially those boys or those children that join early compared to that perhaps, let's say, joined late or they haven't joined? Why is it important for those boys to join the youth club early?
I would say it's important for boys to join the youth club early because, say, for example, like, let's say, give an analogy, let's say a pot of clay. A pot of clay, when it's being molded and shaped into how it's going to be, once it's set in place, it cannot no longer be changed into a different shape. You'd have to break it apart and it can no longer be usable. That same thing, that same idea can be applied to the youth, because once these people, like young teenagers, like aged 12, 13, let's say even younger, 7, 8, 9, when they're surrounded by a positive environment, they're being taught Islamic values, beliefs and principles. And if they're being taught what's halal, what's haram, what's right, what's wrong, if they're being told what to stay away from, what dangers are going to come in your future life. Let's say secondary school, there's so much fitna, there's so many problems that happen at secondary school. If you're told that as early as primary school, okay, stay away from these things, then you have an idea, okay, if I go into these kind of things, hang around with these kind of people, then these problems are going to happen in my secondary school life, and they may even prolong into college life. As opposed to if someone was to join youth club at, say, a later stage, at, say, 17, 18, if they were to join a positive youth Islamic environment when they're like 19, 20 even, they've already been, let's say, they've already been surrounded, may have been surrounded by people that are a bad influence, that are not necessarily people that you would want your son or daughter to hang around with. And because that they have such a strong connection with these people, even if they are a part of a Islamic youth club or youth organization, they would not want to give those friendships up because of social ties and how strong peer pressure and how much they value these people in their lives. That's why they may always fall back into that same sin or the bad things that they're doing. But at the same time, they may keep the youth club on the side, and then they may say, you know what, this is not for me, I want to stay with my friends.
In other words, if the foundation is strong from the get-go at the right age, then it lasts longer, and they can also influence others as well. Brilliant point. Haseeb, you are a volunteer at the youth club, and now especially people like you and people like all of you here, why is it important for our community, especially the Muslim community, to show your work, to demonstrate your work? What is the main purpose? So that others can look at you, see you, watch you, listen to you, and perhaps get inspired.
So it's important for different communities to see us, is because we can make different youth clubs around, like in different areas, so they can have a safe space for children all over the country. So like if there's something wrong at home or at school, they have people to talk to, they have elders to learn from, they can learn other like Islamic values and learn about Islam as well. When they're in that youth club as well, and they can also learn about other people that live in the community, and also like learn what they're like, what their culture is, if they're from different cultures, and learn about them, like seeing whether they like the same things and if they can like hang around, and also like their age group is important as well. Like they could figure out if they're going to the same secondary school, for example.
Brilliant.
And also make friends early in secondary school, because that's like a very big time for young children at a young age, because they might be by themselves.
Excellent. So basically a support network and a lot of, advices, suggestions, and most importantly, like-minded people can come together. I'd like to, our time, as you know, it's limited. So I'd like to thank Mirtazur Quraishi, Taiyeb and Haseeb for your important, valuable time. And of course, may Allah bless and reward you, all three of you, alhamdulillah, in abundance, the amazing work that you're doing. And by dear respected viewers, and that's what we want to see, our future generation, our younger generation, those three that are sitting right in front of me, Mirtazur, Taiyeb and Haseeb. We want to see more role models like them. As parents, I'm sure you want to see your children growing up to be role models for others. This is one of the youth clubs that we've mentioned. I'm sure across the UK there are a lot of, alhamdulillah, youth clubs that are attached to the masajid. And if you're one of them, and if you're doing work, and if you want to the world or the community to know, then please do feel free to get in touch. And one of the most important from this conversation I had, when Mirtazur mentioned a hadith, that Allah loves those actions that is small but is consistent. Inshallah, we'll continue with those kind of effort. Could be a small task, but let's make sure that we encourage and inspire our younger generation, our future generation, most importantly, giving them the right and the correct tarbiyah. And as one of the contributors have mentioned, that from the get-go, if we can make sure that their understanding is correct and aqidah is correct. It's time for a break. You're watching the Today Show. Do stay tuned with us. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much.